Hey everybody, welcome to Board Game Heaven Talks Accessories. My name's Raymond, and in this video I'm going to take a look at the Laserox insert for Nemesis by Awaken Realms. This is a huge insert which is made for the core box. There's also an insert for the expansions, which I will cover in a separate video. So let's first open up this package and I'll show you how to assemble the components, how to put everything inside the box, and how all the components fit inside this organizer. So let's quickly get started. So this is the package for the Alien Artifact insert, which is compatible with Nemesis, the core game. It's a pretty big package, so let's just open it up and take a look. There we go. And as you can see it already, you can see that it has several nice engravings on some of these to put all those different tokens in, which is pretty cool. And there's a 2-sheet instruction, one with all of the sheets and their numbers, and the rest is instructions on how to put all the different trays together and how it all fits inside the box. So yeah, okay. Let's just see where we will start. I'll start with, let's see, do we want to do something complex? Because this is basically very simple. I'll just start with the large card tray here, which is on C and J. Looks like, and a little bit of I. Cool. I'll just punch all of these out and you can just twist them. It's pretty easy. And these also, they can be twisted, but they do have one extra attachment at the bottom, and then you can simply just twist those out. So same here, just find that spot and press that out. Or use a knife, a sharp knife, it will do. And then you can just go. All right, and this part here. My cat is being very destructive in the background. If you hear some weird noises, I have a box, which is now hers, and she's having her way with it. All right. So there we go. These are the longer ones. And they are a bit thinner, so be careful with taking those out. Might be a bit fragile. So I've punched all the components that I need for this card tray. There were quite a few. We've got the 2 outer walls with the nice carving. We have a middle one that will sit in the middle over here, and has side slots there and there. So this will be one of the sides with text on it, and this will be the other side which has no text on it. And I've put them in the same direction so that the 2 smaller slots are over here. It's easy to recognize. And then you've got the regular dividers here for the bigger cards, and the dividers with the smaller ones on them for the bigger and smaller cards with these dividers. So that's quite a little bit of work, I assume, putting all of these in. But yeah, so I'll start with that. And but first I'll show you how to put together the tray, which is of course pretty straightforward. You simply take these sides and you put them on the bottom, and I think I'll start with the bigger sides. And this one has a little bit of a flaw here, so I'm gonna put that one on the inside so that I have the nicer even side on the outside. So sometimes you need to pay attention because there might be, it's wood, so there might be some little flaws in the grain of the wood here and there, although I haven't seen too many, fortunately, but yeah, it can happen. So what you do, I'll just get some glue, and I ran out of wood glue, so I'm going to use some PVA glue in the hopes that that will hold as well. I think it does. And I had one extra piece on one of those sheets that's not meant for this tray, but I can use it to prop up my glue cup there, and I just use a very old brush that I don't use for anything else to apply it. So I'll start with the longer sides first. And then you just check to see if you have the slot at the correct side. Don't put it like this, because then these will be misaligned. A little bit of a splinter there. We're just going to push that in because that's going to sit in there and hold. I might also just put a little bit of glue in the recesses of this wall, this side, just to give it some extra glue, because the wood glue that I had from Laserox ran out, and it's very good wood glue. Dries up quick, dries up transparently, and while this works as well, of course, also dries up transparently, dries slower, and I don't know if it holds as well. So that was that. I'll just put that together. Maybe if I put it like this, that will be easier. The beginning is always the hardest, but once you have a couple in there, you can just push them in quite easily. And the last final bits I usually do with the hammer that you also can get from the Laserox web shop. Oh, and before I forget, I'm making an error here. I need to get this one in first. But fortunately it hasn't dried yet, and I can just bend this out a bit. So, and yeah. Actually, if I followed the instructions, I would have put in the smaller ones first, and then the larger sides. But I usually find it easier to put the smaller, the tops, inside these, because I have more stability than the other way around. But yes, of course, the middle one should have been in there first. So that's my bad. But, you know, it's not difficult to correct, as long as you don't wait too long. Go. And any excess glue you can just wipe off. Whether it's PVA glue or wood glue, that doesn't matter too much. And if you have to, you know, if you want to keep it in place a bit, you could use clamps or even just a rubber band. Just put a rubber band in these slots, and that'll keep that together. If you know, if something is curved out a bit, if the wood is just a little bit warped, just put the wood glue on, rubber band around it, and just leave that for a couple of minutes, and you'll be fine. All right, final bit. And then I'll start working on these dividers. All right, so there you have it. That's the tray all put together with the text on the sides, which I really appreciate, which is pretty cool. And then these will simply sit in here. And you don't glue these, you just put them in. They, you know, they come in and out very easily, as you can see. So yeah, that works pretty well. All right, and then I'll start working on these, which means I need 2 of these big ones, these longer ones, and 1 of these smaller ones, and stick those in. And I'm not sure if I actually need glue for this, but I'm just gonna add on just a little bit, just to be sure that these don't come apart when there's, you know, when it's all put together and the cards are inside. I can actually just push those in, and that's fine. So the sides went in a little bit easier. I could just push them in, but the bottom one is gonna need a little tap. But there you go. So that will hold smaller cards. It's a pretty clever design. And then I take one of these and that goes on top of that. I like how they did that. So you can keep everything together in one card tray with room for the smaller ones. So that's pretty interesting. It's only room for a few, so I'm guessing that's for the personal items for all the player characters. Does say here, you know, like the scientist, pilot, scout, mechanic, soldier, and captain. So I'm guessing those will go here, and then you have all of those cards together. So I'll make all of those and I'll put that inside. All right, so I've put all of these together, which was rather easy. When just like the first one, I could just slide in the sides with a little bit of pressure, and the bottom one in each of them needed just a little tap with the hammer, but that was no problem at all. And I've let them dry for about 15 minutes. And now I can just slide them into these slots here, and every character will have a space for their own cards, which is pretty cool. There we go. And I love that. I think that's pretty cool. It's a nice way to put everything together with, you know, easy holes here to take out the cards. And then we have these dividers for the rest of the cards as well. And you don't need to glue these just sit in here and you can always take them out if needed. All right, so that's this tray. You'll notice I've already searched for these components, which is these tray. Let's see, there's the one here and one here. That's actually two, and they sit on top of each other with foam on the bottom. So those are miniature trays, which is also pretty cool because I noticed that this has an indentation on the sides at the top, and this one sits on top of that. And they did that very cleverly. They actually prolonged, you know, they extended the walls along the bottom and here as well. So this will, you know, be connected here, and this will stick out, and that will catch into this and just sit on top like that. And it's just super clever. I love that. So yeah, let's put these together as well. So those are these two trays. They were quick and easy to put together. And then, as you can see, this will sit on top of that without falling off. Pretty cool. Look at that. Really nice. And I like the extra design details there as well. So yeah, so all I need to do is stick in the foam, which I will do at the end. And then that will be ready as well. Right, on to the next one for the queen and the breeder, which is a big tray that has room for three big models, the queen and the two breeders, and has a little bit of an alcove here because probably the queen is too big, which is pretty cool. And in the back here, the space that is created in the back is for the character boards that slide in there, and you will be able to see them through this back here, this back wall with the holes basically. It's pretty cool. I'm debating whether to put it like this or like this, and this on the outside. A little bit cleaner lasers, but I think I'll do them on the inside actually, because I'll see that better. It's really nice. All right, so let's put this together as well. It doesn't really matter, I think, in which order I do this. So let me think. I think I'll start with the side and just work my way along the outer edges, and then I need to put in the foam, and then lastly I need to put in this because that basically presses against the foam, and the foam is self-adhesive, so I need to do that carefully. So technically I could just glue that in and then just put it in from the top, I guess, but it's probably easier. All right, so let's get started. Actually, I just noticed something. This is sticking out. That's not meant to happen. So this actually needs to be the other way around. I was wondering why this was being pulled out. So that means that this one is actually not symmetrical. So I need to do this way around. Okay, so yeah, that is one to pay attention to. I'll just stick this one back. That went in pretty easily, fortunately. It's not tight. So then this side needs to go on the outside. It does go in easily though. This is a lot easier than that one. That side was a little bit tighter. So now I can actually just push it into place by hand. Well, unless this one is giving me a hard time, but yeah, there we go. So this is not too hard. You can just push it in by hand, but have to pay attention that the other side, this is not symmetrical. Okay, so this is the weakest joint right here because it needs to be easy to put together because it's in such a small place. It's not too tight either, so you do need glue here. Absolutely, I glue everything in these inserts, but yeah, certainly use some glue here. And yeah, then just put it together and that looks pretty cool. Very sci-fi. So yeah, then I need to find the foam insert and put that in. And I'm looking forward to putting in the miniatures. That's gonna look really awesome. This is really well done. There, didn't even need to tap this one because I could just push it in and that looks to be nice and solid. So really, really cool tray. All right, I'll just continue putting these together. If I stumble onto something that is a little bit more complex or if there's an issue, I'll film that, and otherwise I'll just continue and show you when it's all ready, and then I'll put everything in place and put it back in the box. So see you in a bit. So the next thing I was doing is putting together these little card trays here, small cards, and you do need to pay attention a little bit. I've put one of them together and they all have these bits sticking out of the bottom because they stack on top of each other into these slots. So you have 3 of these that stack on top of each other, and they all have one of these nice removable trays to keep the cards in place, and then when you put them on the table you can put it underneath, and you have these raised card trays to draw from, which is awesome. And you don't glue these obviously, but you glue the rest. But then the top box of those is this one, which then sits on top of that. It has 2 dividers over there. So this is just a box that you're gonna put down like that and draw from. And it has these 3 cards. I forgot the names, but there's 3 types that go here. Small cards. And you need to pay attention that you put the engraved sides on the outside, of course. But that's the only thing you need to pay attention to. The rest is pretty straightforward. So I thought I'd show you that just in case you didn't know, this is a blank one that goes on the bottom where the notch is longer over here with the gear, and then the one with Laserox on it on the outside goes where the DNA strain is. So keep that in mind. I'll put this together so you can see how that works. It's very simple. And I'll start with the bottom. So the bottom is easily recognizable by the larger notch here. So I'll just glue that together. And then you can take these and they just slide in. You don't need to glue these either. General rule of thumb is that if a divider in the insert has rounded edges like these, instead of straight edges, you don't glue. There you go. Same goes here. These are rounded edges, no glue required. And then at the end, that will all stack on top of each other like so, which is pretty cool. You know, you can just, well, it will fall off, of course, but it's kept in place so that it sits in your box really nicely. And the other three are just like that one. You just don't glue this and you're fine. There's just 3 walls and a bottom. And again, you put them on the table like that and give that a tap. And not the other way around. This sticks out. All right, continuing. So this was a little bit important because this and this wasn't entirely symmetrical. The distances between these notches and these walls are different. So this and this is symmetrical, but this and this isn't. So you need to pay attention. So just put this divider together first. That's the H shape. And then put this little wall on top of the bottom. And then just slide the rest over this one, making sure the correct one's on the correct side. So that's it. It's very easy. And then you can put together the sides here, again, making sure that these holes align like so. And then you put it in the back and you're done. So another easy tray almost finished. There you go. Nice tray for the noise tokens and the repair or the breakdown tokens, flame, and 2 other tokens or whatever goes there. Probably the red cubes and the transparent status tokens. So that's pretty cool. Moving on. Okay, so I'm putting together my final trays, and there's something I wanted to tell you about these as well as I'm putting these together. First of all, make sure that this is the orientation you build them in, just like shown in the instructions. They show it like this, which is good, but don't flip them over. Don't make them like this. Don't build them like this. You have to build them like this or they will not fit inside the box. You will have misassembled them. So they need to be like this, the both of them. So that's the first thing that's important, because they're gonna be on top of each other in the box in here, and that's the only way they will fit. So follow the instructions, and what the instructions also tell you to do is to assemble this part first. That's gonna sit on top of this with the dividers, because these have these little notches which you can't get in, of course, if you do it in any other order. And what's also important, there's 3 of these dividers per tray, and these are slightly shorter than this one. They look very much alike, but this one is shorter, longer, just a bit longer, a couple of millimeters. So keep that one apart for this side, and the other 3 go here. And also make sure you put this one in the correct orientation. This one has a smaller notch and a bigger notch here. So line it up first, just put it on your table and line that up first so you can see the small one goes here, the big one goes there. Then put this one in, and then put these smaller ones in and the bigger one here. And then when you have all of that together, you put it on top of this. You just give that a tap so that is all in place, and then you can safely put the outer walls in there like so. So just to make sure that you don't build this the wrong way. This is important. Okay, moving on. Okay, so I've put everything together and I've put everything in the spots where I think they belong. It's pretty self-explanatory, really. So let's put it all in the box. So first of all, you have the card tray, which is brilliant. I like how the dividers have smaller slots for the smaller cards. So here are all the character cards, with some of the extra cards is just put in there, which are basically just these cards, the help cards, sleeved. And I did put in these promo cards, which you technically don't need. I didn't sleeve them. They wouldn't fit in here sleeved either, together with the help cards. So you could put them with the draft cards, I guess. There is room with the 6 draft cards for the characters. You could put the help cards there, and then if you want to sleeve those. But between those 2 slots, there's plenty of room. And these slots all have room for the character cards here for every roll, plus the small ones. And that's just 3 of them. I didn't sleeve them. I don't have small sleeves yet. I'm ordering some. And these are all premium sleeves by Paladin sleeves. And they're pretty thick, and they all fit nicely. You've got your intruder player cards, your solo co-op missions, your serious wounds, your intruder attacks, objectives, events, and contamination cards. And as you can see, all of that fits really nicely. So that goes in first. I still don't know why this was lower, though. I did not find out why this was slightly lowered. Maybe to make it easier to take out the inserts should you ever need to take them out. But you can put that in the corner of the box. The rest of the cards goes next to those. So you have these little trays. There's 3 of them for the different item cards. So the red items go here. And when you put them on the table, you can just slide that out, put that on the table like so, to make them easy to draw. And of course, as you can see, there's plenty of room to sleeve these, which I still need to do. And yeah, so as soon as I have sleeves, I will sleeve them, and that will probably, you know, fill it up nicely. And they stack, so as you have seen, so that goes into the corner there. It's a bit tight though. This one fits easier, and so does this. And this one with the intruder weaknesses with the DNA goes here. You've got your coordinates with the target over there, and you've got the crafted items with the gear. So those 3 go in here, and those go on top of this. And again, plenty of room for sleeving. Then we have these trees. I love that. The foam really wraps around the bases very snugly, and this will not fall out. I mean, I can hold that upside down and even shake it, and it's not going anywhere. So that is perfect. Absolutely well done, especially if you're a painter. So put that in the corner over there. Let's see. Then we have this tray, which is just for the card holders. Very simple and straightforward. And that goes on top of the cards. Then we got several other trays for, oops, for the minis. Well, if you drop it, they might fall out. But here we go. Here is the tray for the heroes with their base clips attached, which is great. That's handy, so you don't have to take them off all the time, and you can just take them out and plop them in ever so easily, and that will hold them. So this goes on the bottom over here like that, and this goes on top. So this one wasn't in properly, I guess. So you just push them in to one side and push them down, and then they're in. Now this one, this paw is pressing down into the foam a bit, so I guess he's kind of propping himself up, if you can see that here. But still, it's solid enough to stay in there, which is pretty cool. So this goes on top of that, which clips in, as you have seen. Same with these. So this just fits in here, also along the back, which is cool. And you still have that little window there, which is nice. So you have the bigger aliens and these little larvae. So you put those on top of each other, and that goes in front of the other two. So there we go. Nice. Okay, so then we have the big tray for the queen and these big guys. So that's pretty cool. It didn't really need this little alcove here for the model, but you'll see why that is. It's for the character boards. So this is pretty cool as well. Really nice. And you can just, and again, even with the heavier models, that's not going to fall out. So really well done. Where are my character boards? Here. These are simply going to fit, you know, behind this. So that's pretty cool. They fit in really nicely, as you can see. Right, so next we've got these two trays, which I told you, you have to build them like this. And they have plenty of room for all kinds of different tokens. I've got the escape pods here and the first player cat token. I've got the numbers 1 through 10 here. I got the surge tokens. I got the engine tokens. I tossed in these two tokens as well. As you can see, there is just a couple of them. So I just tossed them in where there was room. And that's gonna sit on top of this. Is it? Yes. That's gonna sit on top of this. And it's going to be held in place by this, the first one. And then the second one I used for the status tokens, for these numbered tokens, these cables, the eggs, I put those together because I had these and I didn't know where to put them exactly. So I just put all of these together. There's plenty of room. And here are these corpse tokens. So I've put those in here, put that on top of that. There you go. Then we've got, let's see, did I do that in the correct order? No, I think I didn't I? I forgot something. I forgot one tray, which is pretty crucial to put in first, because you have this tray, which is basically a miscellaneous. I put these in here. I didn't know where to put them, but since these go in the bag, I put these in here. I put this in here as well. And you just put the bag here, since they go in there anyway. And that goes on top of all the models, all the miniatures. Oh, I need to get that knot out of the way, because that's gonna make things hard to stack. All right, so now this is flush, and now you can put all of these on top of this. So it's a bit of a puzzle, but it does fit. I'm doing this wrong. There you go. There you go. And that goes on top of that. There you go. Right. So it's a tight fit, but it does fit. And then this goes here, which is the tray that holds the tiles and the doors. And you can just put them in with the base clips on, so you don't have to take them apart. It can just be put in and taken out, which is great. And then finally, we have a tray for all of these tokens, all the plastic tokens and the dice. And I put these tokens here as well, because it's basically 5 of these cubes. And that goes on top of this. And that's really cool. I just love how that fits. So finally, you just have to put the board on top. So yeah, just put the board on top of all of that with these room cards and of course the rule book. So that's that. And then you can take the lid and just close up the box. Now it will raise the lid just slightly, basically the thickness of the board. As you can see, it's raised a little, but everything does have its space, its little slot. So let's go to my final thoughts. So my final thoughts on the Laserox insert for Nemesis, the base game. So let's start with how it looks. I really love the way it looks. I just love the details in all these bits and trays with all of these engravings and these carvings. That looks really nice and makes it stand out a little. And I like the way they did that here with all of these little cutouts in the card trays and in the miniature trays. This one has it as well. And that just looks really good. And absolutely looks nice on the table. I love the fact that they used foam to keep all these minis in place. It just works really well. You can just hold it upside down. You can store your box diagonally, vertically, however you want, and they won't fall out. And I like that stacking system as well, so nothing will shuffle around inside your box. It will just stay where it is. Same for these here, the little ones and the bigger ones, and everything just stays in place, and there's plenty of room. So if you're a painter, then these trays are really nice. So that's well done. I also like the fact that you get a separate card tray that you can just take out of the box, pass around. If somebody needs to get some cards, you can just draw a card from here and just play on, and that is very convenient as well. They're even labeled on this side, so you know which cards are where, which is perfect. And again, with the nice engravings, so that's pretty cool. I also love the fact that you have a tray for everything. Everything has its own spot. You can put all your tokens inside of these trays and then pass them along to the players if they need some, and that's just perfect. It just works really well. I like that. And I also like the fact how it all just puzzles together inside the box. And this is also really well done. You have these 3 item decks. And of course, if I take out the lid, they fall out. But they have these, so they are tilted back on the table and they don't fall out, obviously. So then you can just put that on the table, all 3 of them, and, you know, draw from that tray. So that's really well done. And they have this is basically the lid that you put underneath, so it's propped up a bit and the cards won't fall out. And then when you're done with it, you just put that in here, and now it's safe and you can just store it inside the box. And they all have plenty of room for sleeved cards. Even with premium sleeves, with thick sleeves, it will all fit, no problem. There's a tray for these nice acrylic tokens and for the dice as well, which is cool. And this is just basically the leftover bits tray, which fits all of the tokens and the bag really well. So just put that in there, and that's basically everything. And of course, this tray for the card holders. So there's a tray for everything, the tiles, the doors, all of the cards. Perfect. There was even a dedicated spot for all of these. It just fits, it works. It's not hard to put together. There are some trays that you need to pay attention to, like I showed you in the video. So, you know, you could mess up if you're not being careful. Just follow the instructions and you'll be fine. And they also have in the instructions how it fits inside the box. So that's well explained, I think. The only minor point I had is that if they're gonna name all of these parts, you know, with letters, A, B, C, D, etc., then why didn't they put those numbers on the sheets before you punch them out? They named them, you know, 1 of 12 through 12 of 12, and you have to match how they look like with the instructions to see which one is A, which one is B. So the minor change that I would recommend them to do is to put those letters on the trays as well, so you can easily see, oh, this is sheet A and this is sheet B. But that's only an issue during construction. You know, once you've built it all, you're done. You don't ever have to refer to that again, and it will just fit, and that's just fine. And I just really like the way it looks, and it's functional. It's just really, really functional and practical and easy to take those little trays with the cards and pass them along to whoever needs them. And that's just well done, and it all fits in the box. It does raise the box lid with just a centimeter, basically the thickness of the board and the rule book. So it would have been a little bit better if that had fit in there flush, but there's a lot of stuff here. And, you know, the original tray was already very much jam-packed. You had to really stuff everything in there with the original plastic tray. So I think it's pretty good how they managed to put everything inside in its own tray, in, you know, separate trays that you can hand out. Overall, it's very well done. So definitely giving this a 2 thumbs up. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please also give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to be notified of any new videos that I upload. Please also consider becoming a Patreon saint to my channel by clicking the Patreon link in the description below or the icon at the end of this video. It's very much appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Board Game Heaven.